panels are going to be attached with self-drilling, self-tapping neoprene washer head screws. And here we see installing from the basket. They do have to check pretty much every piece to be sure there's no lippage, and also to make certain they remain plumb. The top of every panel does have a joint channel that is anchored to the backup system. The bottom clips fit into the previously set piece. The dimension from face of attachment to face of stone can be either 1 7/8 inch or 2 3/8. However, they normally go at least an extra eighth to account for variation in location of the backup system. You see a 3/8 inch shims are put around the perimeter of the panel at the bottom and at the end. In this case, the top of the panel was not exactly level, and so he did change the shim thickness on one end. Initially, they have to locate the stud that is behind the sheathing and the weather barrier. And after that, studs are typically located at 16 inch on center. So after they find the first stud, they simply measure at 16 inch increments. On a run like this, they'll typically install at least 10 to 12 pieces per hour per man. Here we see a piece going in over a window. Again, the lower channel is located 3.5 inches above the intended location for the bottom of the stone. Note that they continually check for lippage and for plumb. Here he's going to be looking for a stud. He can feel through that weather barrier paper, that tieback, and locates a screw head, so he knows there's a stud at that location. The next panel to be installed was longer than the dimension required to fit the space, and since he's simply cutting off a sliver off one end, he just makes that cut with a continuous diamond tip blade. It's actually a continuous rim blade. After trimming, the panel can be installed. The two abutting panels were not exactly aligned, so he had to back the screw up a bit and put a 1/16 inch shim behind the joint channel so the panel would be flush at that joint. Here we have more cutting, and sometimes cutting has to be done through an attachment location. In that event, they measure the backside first and make a cut at the attachment plate. They're cutting that with an abrasive blade in a 4-inch diameter side grinder. Then he turns the panel over. Notice that the panel is being it's being supported on a piece of rigid insulation board, so the face is not scratched. In this case, they're working on the ground, but it would be easier to be working from a table. So he's measuring the same location on the stone face as he had on the backside where he cut the metal connection material. He removed the abrasive blade and is now putting in a continuous rim diamond blade to cut the stone. The panels can also be cut with a skill saw and a continuous rim diamond blade, which for most people will be easier than using the 4-inch diameter grinder. After the panel's been cut to the desired length, the attachment pieces on one edge have to be reinstalled. He had marked the location for the joint channel, and of course for the clip at the bottom, marked that with a pencil on the attachment plate prior to removing it, and now he's reinstalling. Again, using self-drilling, self-tapping neoprene washer head screws.